Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with breathe air. There's no second best, okay?
GM. Today is Monday, 21st of October. And this is Trade of the Day. So, a few paths here. I think if it is bullish, it will stay above here before the options expiry. I think that if we go as low as 65, that despite the fact that going to 65 this week would still have a bullish chart structure in terms of the daily bands holding, I would expect that there is more of a probability of a deeper correction if that were to happen. I think the bullish thing you want to see is like we had over here, right, where it stays very much high towards the top end of the range and it only just touches into the bands later on in the week and just the top one, especially given the parallels with an options expiry week and the 70k resistance above, which is quite clear. Is this 70k above? If price gets above there, you're talking moon is absolutely possible, especially if it happens before Friday. But I don't expect that to happen, and I expect to see BTC dropping back here with a view to either one of these levels being the main support. So anything in here around this area is bullish. Anything below here, it will still probably rally towards the end of the month, but you might see a higher probability of just a sweep at that point and then consolidation until the election. So I think if we lose 67, this area, we will go down towards 65. So that's the trade. The trade would be in between this 67 and 65 area on the short side down into support. If we stay above it, I think we see a nice consolidation until options expiry, and that's where the daily Bitcoin band probably catches up. And if we get above, of course it moons, but I'm looking more at these two potential pullback paths. So in between here, if we get this, basically, if we get a repeat of this type of price action, there's not really much that you want to trade on that, right? That means Bitcoin's going to drop down to 67 here, but then it's going to bounce up and it's going to chop around, and it's going to squeeze sideways, and it's not something that I would see as being offering much in the way of trades. Scalps, yeah, definitely some lower time frame stuff, sure, but it wouldn't be high expectancy. The best trade was taking out these highs, reversing back. So anyone who's awake and had read trading analysis and saw the magic squiggle and didn't just ape the magic squiggle, but actually traded it with a process, got in well. You got the sweep, you got a retest. Perfect couple of trades there. Now that has played out. So if there's going to be a short trade, you would see Bitcoin, what the fuck? Text box, go away. If you would see BTC from here doing a sideways correction like this and then breaking, you might see a short trade down from here into that 67 area where there are some gaps below. There will be some stops resting below here on the impulse candle. This entire move is not a trend. Okay, it moved up, it came back, it tried to break out. If it's breaking structure, if this part is not the start of a new trend, it's going to mean revert probably all of that move back to the 67 area. And so I would watch and see where does Bitcoin go from here. And if it is unable to break higher, it can drop back down. There might be a trade in there. There is not much that would interest me on a long because 70k has such, at least it should have such resistance before the options expiry, that I would be looking to get long above 70 on a day trade or just playing momentum as shorts are forced to close and options sellers are forced to buy back. But that only happens above 70. And so everything in between, I'd be looking at the potential for BTC to have a further drop down into the 67 level. So that might look like this. It might look like more of a, proper bottom where it sweeps again and it comes up and it looks like, oh, this is definitely going to go. This is going to break out and then drops down. Right? So you might see it following more of a path where at this point it looks like, oh, we should buy the dip. It swept all this out, buy that dip, and if it meets resistance again, that's where you're going to move back down. It's going to be like a very liquidity environment where we've taken out the highs, you come down, you take out the lows, you come up, people put their stops down here, comes down and attacks them, get back up. Very choppy, very messy. And that's how I would be looking at things. And all the while, if Bitcoin does do this kind of drifting sideways, you want to see what's happening with alts. Are they following or are they leading? And so that's what we're looking at today. Any trades I take, of course, will be in trading analysis or the day trader channel. Keep an eye on those. GM, GM, GM.